What up? What it do? It's your boy JDQ with Vision ID TV. And in today's team stream, we have the final chapter of the ongoing series we have, collaborative series that we have between Jaime, Red Hood, and myself on the channel. Um, I really do want to get in depth on this episode about certain topics, but also I kind of also want the the invited guests to kind of like partake a little more into the actual topic at hand. Uh, Carly Russell. No. I do apologize. However, in the banner, I did put between 8 and 8:30, allowing myself to have enough time to get certain things ready. So I do apologize that I got here exactly at 8:30, but it is what it is. In advance, though, I would like to extend my gratitude to every single one of you guys that are here. Quick shout out to the ones who I see right away, like Terrence. Thanks for forgiving me, Terrence. I appreciate that. Terrence, Batmom, Red Hood, of course, Tracy Cruz, Veronica, Honda, K24. And of course, anyone and everyone else who is all here. Yes, I'm glad that Red Hood brought that up again, because I do want to say a quick prayer before we officially start tonight's show for Ryan's mom. I don't know her name, and I failed to ask for her name when I talked to Ryan through the DMs earlier tonight. But God knows her name. And although I can pray both in English and Spanish just as fluently, I feel it in my heart and spirit to pray for her in Spanish. So, if you want to join me in prayer in your own language, however you feel most comfortable, please join me. We are about to pray real quick for Ryan's mom before starting the show officially. So yeah, I'm going to be praying in Spanish right now. And you can join me in your home or wherever you're at, all right? Amantísimo Dios y Padre Celestial, venimos ante ti, dándote gracias inicialmente, Padre, por todo lo que has hecho por nosotros, por regalarnos otro día de vida, Padre, darnos salud, darnos, prosperarnos en vivencia, prosperarnos en sabiduría, entendimiento, vida, fuerza. Te damos gracias, Padre, porque siempre estás con nosotros, aun cuando nosotros no deseamos quizás estar cerca de ti. Tú continúas estando con nosotros, no importando las circunstancias, mi Dios. En esta hora te pido, antes de pedirte cualquier otra cosa, que tú mires a nuestros corazones, nuestras mentes, nuestros pensamientos, nuestros espíritus. Te pido en esta hora que, al igual que a mí y a todos los que están aquí viendo esta transmisión, si hay cualquier cosa, Padre, impidiendo de que tú nos escuches, porque una cosa es oír y otra cosa es escuchar. Si hay cualquier cosa, obstáculo, pecado, error o pensamiento que esté impidiendo, Padre, que tú nos escuches, nuestro clamor y nuestra oración en estos momentos, Padre, yo te pido que en el nombre de Jesús, a través del sacrificio de Jesús, tú rompas cualquier barrera y obstáculo que haya entre el canal de comunicación entre nosotros y tú. Te pido que rompas cualquier barrera, cualquier cosa que impida que tú nos escuches, Padre, para que nos puedas escuchar nuestro clamor y nuestras peticiones en esta hora, Padre. Y declaro que eso está hecho en el nombre de Jesucristo y su sacrificio, Padre, por su sangre. En esta hora, mi Dios, habiendo dicho eso, te pido en esta hora que tú, no importando que haya dicho la ciencia, los médicos, el doctor de la madre de Ryan, no importando qué le han dicho los médicos, eh, le han dicho que posiblemente no llegue a ver el mes de agosto, pero sabemos y confiamos que tú eres un Dios todopoderoso, un Dios que todo lo puedes, un Dios que tiene la última palabra, mi Dios. Te pido que si está en tu divina y perfecta voluntad, mi Dios, eh, rescatarla, restaurarle vida para que ella dé testimonio de tu grandeza, que tú pongas en ella, en su corazón, en su mente, en su cuerpo vida y rompa cualquier célula o cualquier cosa que esté en su cuerpo, ¿verdad? Impidiendo que pueda vivir una vida normal, como lo es el cáncer y todo eso. Y si es el cáncer, Padre, que tú tienes que romper y destruir, sabemos que lo puedes hacer. Lo hemos visto en otras personas, hemos visto cómo tú has sanado a mucha gente del cáncer. So, tenemos el conocimiento que tú sí lo puedes hacer, Padre, y si está en tu voluntad hacerlo, pues te pedimos esta hora con toda la confianza y certeza de que lo puedes hacer. Te pedimos que lo hagas si es que está en tu voluntad hacerlo, Padre. Cualquiera de estas dos cosas, mi Dios, que tú veas como tu perfecta voluntad, pues te pedimos que se haga. Pero si es la sanidad de su cuerpo y la, el rompimiento del cáncer en su cuerpo, pues te pedimos que lo hagas pronto para que haya testimonio de tu poder y magnitud. Y si no es eso, Padre, si no es eso lo que tú tienes en mente hacer, pues que por lo menos la madre de Ryan se vaya tranquila, en paz, y en buen espíritu y ambiente, Padre. Te pedimos estas cosas y también te pedimos que pongas paz y tranquilidad en el corazón y la mente de Ryan y su familia, que tú lo fortalezcas, Padre, le des armonía entre la familia, le des fortaleza para cualquiera de los dos escenarios, Padre. Pedimos mucha tranquilidad en sus corazones y en sus pensamientos, Padre. Te pedimos estas cosas creyendo, confiando en ti, dándote gracias anticipadamente por lo que has de hacer en la vida de la madre de Ryan y su familia, mi Dios. Te damos gracias por todo lo que estás haciendo y lo que vas a hacer en el nombre poderoso eterno de Jesucristo. Te damos gracias, mi Dios. Amen, amen, amen. All right. Sorry about that, guys. I know that took forever, but yeah, that's just how I pray in Spanish. I see that Brian is actually in here, so yeah, man. Uh, don't even mention it. Like I said, you know, earlier in the DMs, you have an army behind you. Uh, we love the heck out of you. You know, we are here for you. You could always reach out to any one of us. I'm never too. I always tell people because I'm it's funny. I'm just like people. I don't like bothering anyone. I don't like because I know everybody has their own lives to tend to. I know everybody has their little worlds to tend to and people to tend to. But I'm never too busy to hear a friend out or to read a message and or to hear a message. You guys can leave voice memos as well. It doesn't have to be necessarily a call. You can leave a voice memo and I can hear it and respond as soon as I can. But I'm never too busy to respond to a friend or someone who I consider family. So don't even mention it. But yeah, amen, amen. So the link has been sent out to both Red and Jaime. So it's whenever they're able to stop by and get the show going. Um, there's absolutely no rush. It's a Friday, right? Um, however, there's some factors that we did not get to cover. I believe it was on a Wednesday night, the part two that we had. And yes, it is the return of Jaime, which I feel like I'm butchering that name. So I'm not gonna lie, I have a lot of fear even saying her name, because sometimes I think it's Jaime or Jaime, but I'm not 1,000% sure. And I know she explained it when she came on here the last time, but right now it's a blur to me, so I can't guarantee myself that I would be saying it the right way. So um, I'm just gonna call her Sister H for now until I'm 1,000% sure on how to pronounce her name correctly, where I feel confident to call her by her name correctly. I'm gonna call her brother, Sister H. I'm sorry, I said brother, Sister H. But yeah, while we wait for them to get here, I am gonna pull something up from a website that I'm subscribed to. Don't don't misname her. I'm trying not to. That's why I said Sister H. Um, okay, so yeah, this is gonna be great. Oh man, this is gonna be great. Huh. Wow. Interesting. There's three things actually that I want to go over now because I was not even aware. This is gonna be an interesting show. This is gonna be an interesting show tonight because oh man, tonight's gonna be a great show, guys. Holy crap. I apologize if that offends anyone, but it's just the way I feel right now at the moment. Um, I just again I came across I was gonna share one video, but now I came across like two or three videos that I want to share with you guys. Um, so I I subscribe myself or pay a membership only well, number one if I can if the finances allow it for me to do it. Number two, if I feel strongly for the person or the channel or the content creator that that I believe deserves it, right? So I'm, for example, like I am a member. I got a whole time, got time lately. Red, that's up to you, bro. I'm not obviously I'm not gonna like force you to be here, and I'm not saying. Excuse me, my bad. I had dinner a few minutes ago. I'm not saying that that's the way it's gonna come off as. But if you got things to tend to, I completely understand. You're good. I'm not gonna feel any type of way, and I'm pretty sure no one here is gonna feel some type of way. Tend to what you have to tend to, because I don't want you to rush to be here. If you were already doing something or about to do something, it's all good. Um, but it's gonna be a great show regardless, because again, I just got a hold of like three videos that I didn't even know that. Yeah, so this is gonna be very interesting. I wonder if I can. Hmm, we're gonna have to do it one by one. Anyways, like I was saying, for example, um, I am a member to Alex's Rumble account, right? I pay, I believe it's a monthly fee or whatever. I believe in what he does, and I believe the way he goes about it. And of course, like I'm okay with paying the membership to watch his content on there, and because I know it goes to a good cause, right? And a lot of these other catchers. And then you have another membership that I pay for. That's only like I think $2.99 or $3 a month. A call for an uprising. I I have been watching his content, I want to say, since 2015, around there, maybe a little earlier than that. Um, and so recently he came out with like the website, I want to say like last year, or maybe the year before. And I recently started like paying for a membership there because I believe in his work. I believe in his content. I don't want to say I'm 100% to the T or to the word uh, on board with everything he says, but for the most part, I do concur and I do agree with a lot of what he says and a lot of what he exposes. So, yeah, he does. He has amazing videos. So we're gonna start watching one of those videos right now, um, and I think this one got either taken down from the YouTube channel that recently he was able to like get monetized. Um, but this is something that I was trying to talk about last time on the last team stream. Um, but he has a lot more information on this topic matter. There will be a time that I will look up on my own, uh, you know, my own set of like information that goes along with this topic. But you know, you were just watching his latest catch. Noise. All right, so I'll put it this way. That way y'all can see my not so handsome but no chocolate colored face. So we're gonna watch this together, and we're gonna analyze what's being said in the video and all that. By the way, YouTube and Google, this is a reaction slash review slash commentary video on another video. Okay, you don't need to flag it. You don't need to strike it. You don't need to do any of that because technically I'm protected by law to scrutinize this video that we're going to watch together. All right? If anyone here is a viewer and is watching me say this and hearing me say this, and if this video does get flagged at some point, I want everyone to message YouTube and Google and ask them to remove the strike or whatever they put on this video or the stream that I'm doing right now. But anyways, that being said, let's get this video started and let's see what they say. As a matter of fact, I actually let it play. All right, so here we go.
YouTube says it has had enough of vaccine misinformation on its site.
And false stories from phony sites to run circles around major news outlets.
Many people don't know the difference between something real and something created to deceive them.
Open your eyes.
If you've ever had this feeling that something was terribly wrong with the world that we live in, but you couldn't figure out just what it was, then you've come to the right place. Secret societies, mystery religions, and the Illuminati have been controlling our reality since the beginning of time. But not anymore, because there is an awakening happening, and you are about to become a part of it. Wake up, because this is a call for an uprising.
This is a call for an uprising. Welcome to today's show exclusively here on a callforanuprising.com. A good friend of mine passed this along to me if you haven't heard it yet. And then you start piecing things together, right? As far as why suddenly we're seeing child trafficking becoming so prominent in the mainstream media, why we're hearing all these stories about the Sound of Freedom movie and how it's being suppressed, how the liberal media is criticizing the film. And this is all the makings, obviously, of a narrative from the intelligence agencies, right? The fact that this movie's even made and being produced and being pushed in the mainstream, whether they're talking about it negatively or positively, is something that they want out there. They wouldn't be promoting it if they did not want it out there. So then you look at this, which is the Biden DOJ, the Department of Justice, removed child sex trafficking content from its website. So in other words, the Department of Justice, which is supposed to protect us, wink, wink, which is supposed to go after child sex traffickers, crimes, drug trade, et cetera, et cetera. They really do nothing except monitor and track us. We all know that. We've all known that for quite some time. It's becoming more and more public now, yet people don't seem to care. So the DOJ has quietly removed what you would think would be the most important thing from their website, but it's not. And this is done by design. You don't think that the DOJ knows that people are going to notice that they're removing child sex trafficking from their website? That's like the equivalent of them removing, we're not, them saying we're not going after drug cartels anymore. We're not going after Al-Qaeda or terrorists anymore. Now we're not going after child sex traffickers. I think that this entire narrative, and again, I know there's people out there, and I've seen all the stuff in the forum. I know everybody's kind of, not sure which way to go. Some people are very, firm in their stance on the movie, et cetera, et cetera. I look at this stuff as what is coming out of it. I'm just looking at what's around the net.
So real quick, I have to pause and do the commentary right now. But yeah, like for example, we were just talking about this on the last team stream and the one before it. The movie on its own that's based on a true story, the Tim Ballard story, right? The movie on its own and the story that it tells really is a genuine, form of action to speak. I think. All right, I think I'm back. I'm back on the computer. let me check something real quick. By the way, I'm on both. I'm on this stream that's going on, but I'm also live and on the computer stream right now. I just want to say something though, because someone said they got a copyright strike. I think it was Red, but it doesn't make sense though, because there's nothing that I showed that is copyright strike worthy. So that's concerning to me. Um, um, what if it happens again? I don't know, man. I really don't know. It's really odd. But this is why I need you guys to get the likes on this stream over here up and like share it forward, so that y'all know it's not like I'm gonna try it again. I'm gonna try to share the thing again. And if it like takes the let me see what it says. Oh, this is an old one. Um, I just said your computer knows this, so they on it all the time. You need to reset the thing to check. So they on it all the time. All right, hold that thought, William. By the way, what's up, William? Right, thank you. That twist. That's exactly what I was gonna say. I appreciate that, man. That's exactly what I was thinking. Okay, so they haven't striked the stream yet, as what I'm per what I'm looking at. Matter of fact, let me show you guys what it looks like. That way, y'all know what it looks like. All right, that way we're not talking on our butt. So if there was a strike, it would be right here. Like it would be like it would say, um, it would say like not visible to public or blocked in certain countries or whatever, and then it would say whatever the reason is over here. Okay, as of right now, as far as like the stream or whatever, as far as I can see, there hasn't been any copyright strike or nothing like that. Um, but it would be visible there. For example, let's see if I find one. Okay, it's like right here. So a few weeks ago, I did the whole Tyree situation. That got a copyright strike, but it's visible to the public because YouTube allegedly didn't find anything wrong with it, or whatever. Same thing with this one, music industry stuff, copyright, but they allowed it to be viewed by public. It didn't get stopped. Um, I don't see any restrictions on this one. This one is the one that you're watching me do on the phone, and this is the one that's live right now on the computer. Right? Streaming software and mobile, right? So there's no restrictions, no reasons. I'm going to try. Listen to what I'm going to say. I'm going to try um, to continue to share what I was sharing earlier on the computer. And matter of fact, I'm going to run it back from the start. And if any one of you guys see that the stream goes down again and doesn't allow me to show what I'm showing through the stream on the computer, then like Dead Twist said, it's not a coincidence. So just keep that in mind, okay? I'm going to go back to the computer here. Barely got the intro out, right? Yeah. The proof is how call for has 12 different channels taken down in the last couple of years since he sold him. Yeah. All right. So I'm going to William. I am gonna run a scan, but I'm gonna try this first. I'm gonna try to get the content out on the computer first, and then I'll do a scan. Although I will say that it did go through a scan before I even touched it because I have it going on a scheduled maintenance scan like every morning. Um, so we'll see. But yeah, I'm gonna let you guys go on off of the phone and do it on the computer, and hopefully we're able to show more of the content I was trying to share with you guys earlier. All right, I'll see you guys over here on the computer. But please share this video forward, though. I'll appreciate it, please, because it helps. You know what I'm saying? Like, it helps people understand and know that it's not a conspiracy. Anytime you do try to bring some type of like valid information out there, or just your opinion, you know, that and it just happens to conflict with, you know, the government or the president or whatever, then yeah. So I'll see you guys over here on the computer. Restart your phone daily at least. I will keep that in mind, sir. All right, let's try this one more time. Let's try sharing a little bit of information and opinions on the computer one last time. Bear with me because I have to start from scratch again. So I apologize. By the way, I'm drinking non-alcoholic pina colada that my dad made. So cheers to him. Let's see. All right, here we go again. From the very start to finish. Let's see what happens.
YouTube says it has had enough of vaccine misinformation on its site.
And false stories from phony sites to run circles around major news outlets.
Many people don't know the difference between something real and something created to deceive them.
Open your eyes.
If you've ever had this feeling that something was terribly wrong with the world that we lived in, but you couldn't figure out just what it was, then you've come to the right place. Secret societies, mystery religions, and the Illuminati have been controlling our reality since the beginning of time. But not anymore, because there is an awakening happening, and you are about to become a part of it. Wake up, because this is a call for an uprising.
This is a call for an uprising. Welcome to today's show exclusively here on a callforanuprising.com. A good friend of mine passed this along to me if you haven't heard it yet. And then you start piecing things together, right? As far as why suddenly we're seeing child trafficking becoming so prominent in the mainstream media, why we're hearing all these stories about the Sound of Freedom movie and how it's being suppressed, how the liberal media is criticizing the film. And this is all the makings, obviously, of a narrative from the intelligence agencies, right? The fact that this movie's even made and being produced and being pushed in the mainstream, whether they're talking about it negatively or positively, is something that they want out there. They wouldn't be promoting it if they did not want it out there. So then you look at this, which is the Biden DOJ, the Department of Justice, removed child sex trafficking content from its website. So in other words, the Department of Justice, which is supposed to protect us, wink, wink, which is supposed to go after child sex traffickers, crimes, drug trade, et cetera, et cetera. They really do nothing except monitor and track us. We all know that. We've all known that for quite some time. It's becoming more and more public now, yet people don't seem to care. So the DOJ has quietly removed what you would think would be the most important thing from their website, but it's not. And this is done by design. You don't think that the DOJ knows that people are going to notice that they're removing child sex trafficking from their website? That's like the equivalent of them removing, we're not, them saying we're not going after drug cartels anymore. We're not going after Al-Qaeda or terrorists anymore. Now we're not going after child sex traffickers. I think that this entire narrative, and again, I know there's people out there, and I've seen all the stuff in the forum. I know everybody's kind of, not sure which way to go. Some people are very, firm in their stance on the movie, et cetera, et cetera. I look at this stuff as what is coming out of it. I'm just looking at what's around the narrative and why it's being covered and where we're going and where they're swaying people, et cetera, et cetera. And we see a lot of anger now. We see a lot of anger from conservatives of how the liberal media is calling the movie a QAnon conspiracy when everybody knows it's a fact about child trafficking. Even in years past, the liberal media has covered it. Of course, they try to pretend like it has something to do with slave trade for labor goods, et cetera, and not for sex. But of course, again, the thing that's missing in all this stuff, like I said in the video I did on Sound of Freedom, was the covering of the occult and Aleister Crowley's teachings and the things that they believe in and how these children are used in sexual blood rituals that end up in murder and sacrifice. So this is out there for a reason, and I believe that these two stories go neck and neck with one another. You don't have to believe that I'm telling you what I think, but you should know about this with the DOJ because this has bait written all over it, right? The reaction of seeing this would get people irate. The reaction we're seeing from the Sounds of Freedom movie is something that should, in a natural, real world where things are freely flowing, get everybody on board on the same page and bond people to go after these disgusting, perverse human beings. But what they've done is they've even politicized child trafficking, sexual abuse of children, et cetera. And this is all obviously leading towards them normalizing young children being in relationships with adults. And this is what it's going to be like. And this, of course, has to do with the civil divide. Because all these departments, the Department of Justice, the FBI, they say they're self-sabotaging like everything else to create this communist New World Order government. They're sabotaging themselves. This is a move of sabotage. Nobody had the common sense to say, whoa, you don't want to do that. There's this movie coming out, too, called Sounds of Freedom that we're going to promote on the news, so we don't want anyone to notice that the DOJ has removed all their stuff on child trafficking. No, they want you to notice. That's the point. They want you irate. This is how they're hurting people, to be divided into two countries. This is going to be very much like Ireland. Very much like other countries we've seen over time that are divided into two. That's what they're doing here. They know that half this country is not disarming themselves. They know that half this country is not going to be on board with this stuff. But they've gotten half of a country, which is insane, to be on board with all of this insanity, with castrating children, with transgender stuff, with thinking you're born queer, with now eventually, having sympathy, they're going to tell us that doctors have said that pedophiles are born that way. That's where all this is headed. So these are this is deliberately done. Okay, so let me read to you about it. President Biden's Department of Justice quietly removed content on child sex trafficking from its website earlier this year. Now the story just comes out because people have noticed it after Sounds of Freedom, because people have went and they've researched stuff and they've seen that the DOJ's removed this stuff. So the Department of Justice on their website includes a page on child sex trafficking. However, the page has seen major revisions in recent months. Deliberate.
All right, hit pause. My hand is off again. Just lean on that. I'm not messing with my computer or nothing like that, just because I know at some point someone's going to say, oh, it was probably him who turned it off. No. My hands are free, and I'm not messing with the computer. But the special guest has arrived, so I will allow her to introduce herself, and we'll continue.
Hello again, everybody.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Fantastic. I am happy that you were able to join tonight. I appreciate the appearance.
I'm very happy to be here.
Awesome. I don't know if you noticed earlier on the stream that the stream got cut off out of nowhere.
Oh, really?
Yes. I was sharing a video. Well, the video that I'm sharing right now, but I was sharing it earlier, and it just so happened that appreciate that the computer, okay, just the computer, not the apartment, not my room, just the computer, out of nowhere, shut down on me completely, and the stream kept going, but obviously, the computer was off. I couldn't do anything, so we were speculating how potentially, the the YouTube gods, and Google gods did not like hearing the information that I was sharing on the stream. So therefore, they wanted to just like shut the computer down. But that's just me having fun with like the speculation or whatever. That's what we've been doing thus far. But yeah, so I'm sorry. Go on. How was your day today? And also, um, we'll get right into it. Some of the topics that you might want to bring up and talk about that we probably weren't able to get to last time you were here. Take it away.
Oh, yes, for sure. So I can introduce myself in case nobody knows
Yes,
who
please, because
I am.
I am terrible at
Oh, no,
pronouncing
you did
your
an
name.
amazing you did an amazing job last time. No worries. But yes, hello, Vision Ivy TV crew and family. My name is Hime, commonly known as Jaime amongst most of you. I am a decoy for CC unit, so drop his link below if you would like. And yeah, I've been decoying for a while. I really love bringing justice to evils and being an instrument of that, because the Lord is ultimately directing my steps. So I really appreciate the Lord allowing me to do this. So yeah, that's who I am. Yeah.
Amen, amen, amen. And it is Hime, okay? Hime.
Yeah.
You know what's funny is that word and that pronunciation in Spanish means something interesting. It means to like, I don't want to say mourn, but like when something sad happens and you're like humbled by it and you kind of like make that sound of like sadness or like whimpering or whatever. That's what Hime means in Spanish.
Whoa, that's cool. That's me whenever I see this evil happening. So yeah.
Wasn't
cool.
me? I didn't pick your name.
Yeah, it's so cool. It has like a Spanish, well, that's so cool because Hime, I got it from Japan, or like somebody named me Hime. It was from the Japanese word that's used for like princess, or more specifically like a daughter of high birth. And at that time, the name Hime came to me when I was like in a very sinful time in my life. But and then I got that name from a very like sinful group of friends. But we're all sinful, just putting that out there. But that like time in my life was especially like very sinful, and because I was so young and being guided by people who were much older than me. But anyway, but then now that I'm older, but now that I'm not part of that community anymore, that sinful community, like I'm glad that I can reclaim that name Hime to also mean like it's not just them, the people that named me, like kind of being anime people, but it's also like my relationship with Christ and my relationship with God, because he's like he's the king and I am like his daughter, I'm his child. So like a daughter of high birth, meaning that I am a daughter of the king. So yeah. Some story, some Hime lore for you guys.
Yeah, no, that I obviously I was not going to guess that ever, because that is a very deep origin story to your name, but
Yeah.
very interesting indeed.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, it's pretty. I love like talking about it, but I mean like, who doesn't love talking about themselves? So yeah, I'm always happy to share that because it does mean a lot to me. So yeah.
Well, guys in the live chat and viewers for afterwards, if you didn't know, now you know.
Yes.
But no, please don't hesitate to start bringing up potentially some of the things that we probably didn't get to talk about last time you were here. I know you said there was a lot to cover, and there's a lot that you wanted to say, but obviously, time within the stream itself, I didn't want to like make it go on forever. So because I try to be considerate with everyone's time, and I try to be responsible with everyone's time. But you have the floor to bring up and expand on whatever you felt you needed to expand on last time you were here.
Oh, thank you. Yes. So, like, I know that your channel, they talk a lot about like demonic, powers in media and stuff like that. And I feel like demons are not just like confined to like media and stuff. Like they're also confined to, like trafficking. Trafficking is a big avenue where a lot of like demons can do their thing. And one thing that I just overall, like, my thought on the whole, Sound of Freedom movie is I like how it's bringing this evil to light, because I remember like the first time that I was experienced or that I witnessed trafficking, it was like from another documentary. It was called it was called something like it was like some Out of Shadows. It was called Out of Shadows. Out of Shadows is such a good documentary. Like, I highly recommend it. Have you heard of Out of Shadows, JQ?
I feel like I've heard that title. I just don't think it's the one that you're talking about. Because I'm thinking of Out of the Shadows, and I don't think it's the same thing. I think it's something completely different, irrelevant to what you're going to bring up right now. But I have
Oh,
not.
yeah. Okay, so Out of Shadows, it was a documentary made by these people, these stuntmen that were in Hollywood, that worked for Hollywood for a minute. And there were two of them, and then there was this other girl who was like a reporter. But basically, they made this documentary basically exposing like the pedos in Hollywood, and basically saying that pedos are out there in Hollywood, and that Hollywood uses their media as a means of propaganda to like lie to people, and to like lie to the public about things, and it's also a means of like brainwashing. So one of the things that they covered was trafficking, and how children are being basically maimed and hurt by these elites. And so that was like the very first thing, and especially like elites as in like celebrities and politicians from all sides. So that's when it really hit me that like evil is out there. And it's like you don't want to believe it, but it's happening, and they're like showing these evidence, and they're showing like there's still like an element of theory, but that's there's it is happening. As this movie says, it's very real. So of course, like, even though there are things called like quote unquote conspiracy theories, like trafficking is not a conspiracy theory. Like, it's happening. And for the media, media coverage to say like, oh, this QAnon conspiracy movie for white American dads is sweeping the theaters, it's crazy, because it's like I'm not a well, I'm half white, but like I'm Asian. I'm not a parent yet. I'm a woman, and it's like I love this movie. Like, I resonate with this movie, so it's good to see like people waking up from that, and I'm glad that like the enemy is not winning in that regard. But it's just really, it's been very mind-boggling to see how the media has been it's exposing the media, and it's proving Out of Shadows correct at how the media is a propaganda machine, where it's like they're trying to make you think, oh, this movie is QAnon conspiracy, but it's just talking about trafficking. So it's very interesting to see. And it's the media is the media is allowing themselves to be instruments of the devil, which the devil is prowling everywhere and is more prevalent than we like to think and we like to believe, unfortunately. But yeah, that's half of what I was thinking when we last spoke. But yeah, and I'm sure there's more, but maybe we can like do some follow-up questions, and then maybe more will come out. But yeah.
Oh, like, I'm sure we'll get to that, of course. And part of the reason that I pulled up the video that we're watching right now before you got here is because it coincides with what you just brought up. Like, I haven't seen that documentary yet, but there is a case, which is a McMartin case, right? Where the investigation went on for like quite a while, and secret passageways were uncovered. tunnels were uncovered, tunnels that led to, places like just around the world basically were uncovered. Um, and the countless testimonies of children um, that just happen to coincide with each other. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, the testimonies of like, well, he did this with me, she did that with me, this happened, this, like, these children that went through this, the whole like Martin case, like a combination of like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9-year-olds. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Um, I
Right.
don't know how to say this in a way where it's like I don't sound too over the top. There's no reason for a child of that age to come up with such a fantastical story, especially if these kids, you know, were not from homes that were into horror movies. They weren't into that type of material, that type of consuming that type of content, right?
Yeah.
There's no reason why, out of nowhere, the stories and testimonies of these children coincide with each other, um, of stuff like this happening. It just,
Mm.
I'm not saying it's not possible. Sure, everything's possible, but it just, they have nothing to gain from it. You know what I mean? Um, if anything, it'd be traumatizing to talk about it or bring it back up, like as a child. You know what I mean? Um,
Mhm.
and then you had like evidence of like marking, like physical markings and damage that was done to them. You know what I mean? That they couldn't
Yeah.
do themselves. It's just, it's a lot. And you know, there was an episode on Law and Order that came out after the investigation got held to a halt, basically trying to clown that whole investigation within the show, um, because they were making a mockery out of it. You know, the person in the show had these children testify, and the lawyer would like pull up these pictures of like, governors or like celebrities or whatever, and the children would be like, "Yeah, that's the man who did it." And then the lawyer would show the picture to the audience, and they would laugh like, "Yeah, right. That person would never do that." You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Um, and so think like, I look at it this way: anytime the government, TV, like news outlets, the media, tries to mock something that serious and of that caliber, is because they're trying to deflect from the whole situation. You know what I
I
mean?
agree. Yep.
And
I completely agree with that.
I mean, there's a psychology behind it. There's a psychology behind deflect, mock, make fun of, to get the people's like pretty much on board with like, yeah, that's pretty ridiculous. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Oh yeah, that person has a screw loose. Oh, that person needs mental like attention or whatever. Why? Why are we dismissing these children, these kids, and these people, these teenagers and adults going through this? Why?
Mhm.
I've never understood that, yo.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I'm sorry. I went for like a little small rant there, but um, I'm gonna continue to share the video, and we'll do commentary on it and review it together.
Yeah.
Um, let me see if I can. There we go. That should work. Okay. So bear with me. All right. Um, he may see. I said it right. I said it right.
Yes.
Um,
It's okay. I'm Jaime here. Like it's all good.
no, sister. I want to call you by your name. I want to be like Jesus and call you by your name.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
All right. Let's see what else is being said here. And by the way, I Hime, I don't know if you like if a call for an uprising is someone you follow or don't. I don't know. Um, but I kind of like made a statement earlier how not always do I agree with him to a T, but for the most part, like I do end up like agreeing with like most of what he says and like brings up. So
Oh yeah,
uh,
for sure, no worries.
I'm sure you'll give me your opinion and your feedback on what you think of what he's saying and what he's taken away from the whole situation of the Sound of Freedom movie and how he thinks it might be like a psyop to a certain extent, but I want your feedback after we watch it. All right.
Including the complete removal of 3 sections. Remember, again, the DOJ and the CIA and the FBI, even admittedly, have their hand in Hollywood. They have their hand in Playboy, things I've covered over the years. They have their hand in everything. Okay. So let's not pretend like they didn't know that this movie was going to come out on child trafficking that was going to be promoted by their own controlled media. Of course they did. So you see how these things work if you connect the dots, how they're baiting people emotionally. And people out there are in an uproar about it, and rightfully so. But you have to look at the psychological aspect of this. They're baiting people. You can go, well, they're baiting me, but I care about kids. Understandable. We all do. Nobody wants to see this happen. But psychologically, what are they doing? Do not get deceived into their traps. That's the warning that I'm giving. So these are the things that were removed from the website. Okay. International.
Before I continue, thus far, I will say like for a movie like it's really hard because the lines are blurred nowadays. It's hard to tell who are genuine content creators that are able to reach big audiences. So for example, like, you know, like if I were to make a homemade low budget movie, but the quality is like still like really great beyond like homemade, and it looks awesome, the story's great, you know, the execution of the acting is great. um it would be really difficult for me to reach like a large audience around the states and beyond that because no one knows me. You know, people probably heard it's a low budget movie, so that they might be turned off by that. You know, there's so many factors that go into someone reaching with an independent film large crowds, right? um, in this case, you have Jim Caviezel, who is a well-known and respected actor from Hollywood, who is of the faith, who decided to be a part of this independent film, which it is a low-budget independent film in the sense that the ones that it's competing against are like blockbuster level films. So I think Red Hood mentioned the numbers last time we were here of like how much it took to like make the movie and how thus far they have already recovered what they spent on making the movie and then some, um, which I think is great. But it's hard to tell, like, because I'm not saying Jim Caviezel is part of the elite, because to me he's not. I don't think he is. I think he is still part of that crowd that's like still genuine, you know, still separated and exclusively, you know, working on films that he believes in and stuff like that. Um, but it's it's really difficult to think that in some way, shape, or form, whether it be behind the scenes, some people from Hollywood or whatever did have a hand in like not only making the movie but allowing it to reach the audiences that it did. What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, they're definitely like I've thought about that too before. Like maybe because I've seen people say like to not support the movie because it's still made by Hollywood and like surely they would have known that it was coming out, and there's a lot of that. But like I see the you know the bright side is that at least people are showing up to support the cause. You know what I'm saying? Like it's good to see that people support a movie about raising awareness on child trafficking because it goes to show that people care and people are becoming aware. So that to me, I think, is a little bit more valuable because it's like there's that one Bible verse. Let me ask. Let me ask. I have my laptop in front of me. Let me ask. I'm gonna go look for it. There's like that Bible verse where it says like Bible verse about. So I'm typing about even if the gospel is preached. It's like a what is it? Even if okay, wait, where is it? Bible verse. Still, the gospel is being preached. How do y'all feel about chat? This is super side note. As I'm looking for this verse, how do you guys feel about ChatGPT?
Oh, I think it's a useful tool. Like if we use it for the right reasons and all that, I think it's an amazing, awesome tool.
I agree.
I don't use it myself. I've used it in the past, like around like when it first came out, but I don't really use it often.
Yeah.
But like my cousins use it and they come up with great stuff when they do. So go ahead. Yeah.
Yes, I agree. I think I found the verse. So let me. It's in Philippians. Philippians 1:15 through 20. NASB. Let's see. Okay, so it says, "Some, to be sure, are preaching Christ, even from envy and strife, but some also from goodwill. The latter do it out of love, knowing that I am appointed for the defense of the gospel. The former proclaim Christ out of selfish ambition, rather than from pure motives, thinking to cause me distress in my imprisonment. What then? Only in every way, whether in pretense or in truth, Christ is proclaimed, and in this I rejoice." So that's kind of, this verse is kind of, oh, actually it goes on. That's only verse 15 to 18, but then it goes on and it says, "Yes, I will rejoice, for I know that this will turn out for my deliverance through your prayers and the provision of the Spirit of Jesus Christ, according to my earnest expectation and hope, that I will not be put to shame in anything, but that with all boldness Christ will even now, as always, be exalted in my body, whether by life or by death." So this verse is kind of like how I view this current situation of like this movie coming out and people saying that, oh, it's still part of Hollywood. Oh, Tim Ballard, did you know he's a Freemason? Stuff like that. But to me, it's like, well, at least the gospel is being preached and at least people are becoming aware of this. Because even, if I don't know. It's just like I'm not focused on like the downside of it. I'm just focused on let the world know that kids are in slavery. Let the world know that women and children and people, slavery is still well alive right now. 2 million, how the movie was talking about 2 million. It's been, slavery is more alive than ever, even when it was legal. So to me, it's better to raise awareness and to let people see it rather than put it off instantly because like they're trying to like find anything like, oh, why did he partner with these people? These people are these people and these people and these people. These people know a guy who know a guy who know a guy who know a guy that's partnered with the Clintons. You know what I'm saying? Like, but at least the film is raising awareness on child trafficking, and this movement, with Operation Underground Railroad doing this Pay It Forward movement, and even all of those things, it goes to show like people are willing to come together for children to support them and to know that we want to help them. So that's kind of my attitude towards it. Yeah. Because it's like I feel like the enemy wants us to, be against each other and for whatever reason. But like the enemy is doing enough of that already. Like if you see the mainstream media, they're doing enough of that division already. So I don't think that we should be divided. We should just like focus on saving the children because that's the bigger issue here. And maybe watching a movie won't save them, but it'll raise awareness, you know what I'm saying? So that we know how to teach our children and teach the younger generation how to like be safe and also, yeah, that's kind of how I saw it.
Amen to that. And that's the best way of looking at it is just that. Like at the end of the day, what we should be taking away from the movie and its purpose and its mission is solely that, what it was intended to do. And what it was intended to do was raise awareness about the situation and at the same time learn just how important it is. Because I asked people recently. Like, you know, how often do you think of like protecting your kids and making sure they're safe? And of course, every parent will there and then say, yeah, all the time, all the time, all the time. And sadly, I can't agree and I can't confirm that that's the actual legitimate case, because no parent, no matter how good they are, no matter how great of a parent they are, I'm sorry, you're lying to yourself if you're saying to me that you're on point 24/7 on the vigilance and protection of your kids. You're lying to yourself.
Yep.
I don't care how great of a parent, I don't care if you have the kid like cuffed to your wrist, okay? Even then, I'm sure you're not thinking of like their protection and safety around the clock every single day of your life. That's just not the case. That's not reality, because we all have jobs to think about. We all have, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Things we got to get done. And so sadly, the protection and vigilance of our kids, I don't have any, but once I do, like I have nieces. So the protection of them at some point throughout the day, like kind of like deteriorates at some point. And those are the moments that we as parents or uncles or whatever should know to teach our kids, our children, how to, for them to stay vigilant for themselves and how to stay safe and how to stay like well, like in surrounded areas and know how to call for help. And, these are things that the movie in a way motivates us to think about, analyze, and strategize accordingly for these things not to happen to our children. Before we continue, I am going to bring on our brother Red into the mix.
Hey, what's up, Red?
Hey, what's up? I want to apologize for being my time got away from me. Literally out of the blue, I got a hold of a guitar. It's decent, and I just started playing it. And just time got away from me. My bad. My apologies.
You're good. What brand is it, if you don't mind me asking?
It's just a regular guitar, like an acoustic. So I'm just trying to learn how to play it because my fingers hurt because I'm so inexperienced. So I've been trying to play at it.
Well, kudos to you, man, because it takes a lot of patience to learn the guitar and the piano. So I'm sure you'll get far if you really want to. So, but yeah, apology accepted. It's all good. Nothing to really worry about. But yeah, bro, like, what are your thoughts on this? Like, do you
It's kind of
think?
sus. Quietly Scrubs. Yeah, that's.
Oh, the
sounds sus. I mean, what? Like, how? On, like, the Biden DOJ, like, why would they do that? Like, that's like, if that's not on the nose, I mean, it's like, I don't know how, like, I don't know, like, if they're playing the subtlety game or. It's like they do things in plain sight and expect people not to look into it, and expect people not to be like, "What?" Like,
well,
it's so weird.
Are like, what? Like, a lot of people are like, even with reading this type of like title or whatever headline, they're still like, okay, whatever. I know people like that.
Right, and then they're banking on that fact. Like, it's like, oh, whatever.
Mm-hmm. All right, so hold on. I'm gonna hit play again, and then let's see what else he has to say here.
Sex trafficking of minors, domestic sex trafficking of minors, child victims of prostitution. So why would those things be removed? It's laughable that they're removed. They say one of the deleted sections warned that sex trafficking can involve the cross-border transportation of children. Okay, and this is one of the stories that the mainstream media has picked up on, of how the whole thing with Biden and the border is about child trafficking, that they're trafficking kids back and forth. There's a lot of truth to that, of course, but this would not make the news unless they wanted it to. They're pretty much saying that the liberal party is a party of pedophiles. We've all known this, but the Republican Party is also a party of pedophiles. Okay, the Bushes were pedophiles. All of these people, with even if you go back to the Franklin cover-up, They're a conservative. They just put a tag in front of their name. Trump used to be a conservative, a liberal, excuse me. Now he's a conservative. They flip and they flop. You know, Dr. Oz was presented to us as a conservative. He's Oprah's best buddy, only has a career because of Oprah. I mean, it's all part of a show. They push them like chess pieces where they need to go, and then they work in agendas, and then people just hear the stuff that comes out of their mouth, and they react without saying, I'm being baited. What are they doing? Why are they doing this? And how convenient is it that the DOJ has taken this down with this movie coming out and the uproar now where we're seeing the liberals actually defend the government and their position on child sex trafficking, defending this with the DOJ too. They'll defend it, and that's how a communist government works.
All right. So that part right there where he's like, you know, the Democrats are like defending on how the government moves when it comes to the whole like child sex trafficking situation. What do y'all think about that?
I'm not surprised. Oh, her? Okay, yeah. You go first.
Yeah, dog. Ladies first. Oh, man.
You go first. Go ahead.
I mean, nowadays you can identify as whatever you want. So
you know what? I'm a female, you know, so
exactly.
Ladies first.
Red Hood, she, her. Would you like to go first?
Yes, I would, and it would have been bigoted if you had gone first. I identify as a female, so I can go first.
Go ahead, darling.
Yes. It leaves me speechless. It's so obvious, right? Like, you know, the liberals tend to, you know, back that kind of stuff, but then, I mean, they have to remember, like, it's like, yeah, they're flip-floppy and stuff, but then again, like, they're not all to just say right away that, hey, all liberals are this, that, and the other. That's like a washing generalization. There could be people identifying as conservative who are just hiding and like to infiltrate or something like that. You know, anything's possible. You know, you have to judge people on a case-by-case basis, and that's what people don't want to do. So they just resort to making just washing generalizations, because there could be many liberal people who aren't for that. So,
agreed. All right, your time to shine, Hime.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, you know, one thing that I always tell myself when I'm decoying is like creeps come from all walks of life. So whether you're liberal, conservative, whether you're a Christian, whether you're an atheist, whether you are Buddhist, you know, Islam or whatever, like Jewish, there are creeps in all walks of life, and it's not like oh, that can never happen to me because I'm Christian, or like, oh, I will never have those inclinations because, like, you know, I'm this, and this, and, you know, it's like the enemy can use anybody as an instrument of evil, and especially if you allow yourself to be an instrument of evil, you know, you can be a Christian and still you'd be, you know, well, even as Christians, we all sin, right? So it's like you can still be an instrument of evil in that regard, and so the enemy, you know, anyone can be that type of person. So to me, when someone makes a claim like, no, but the conservatives are pedos too, it's like, okay, and like, of course, like anybody can be, like, I'm not sitting on a high horse here saying that we will never do that. You know, because I agree, like, if these people, these conservative politicians really are creeps, then it's like, great, prosecute them to the fullest extent, like just as you would anybody who's a creep. And I expect that same, just because we play for the same team, and especially if we play for the same team, I would love to see them get prosecuted in the same way, even if they, like, as if they would if they weren't on my team. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, justice for the same, you know, on the same level. Like, nobody should get a pass. So, in that. So that's kind of my thoughts on that. Yeah.
No, you guys are both correct. Like, the best example that I can think of right off the top of my head is a few months ago, I believe. I was watching, I forget his name, but one of the guys from like the Daily Wire, he was questioning people on the street of the whole like situation with the Pride Month and, you know, doing it in front of kids and all that.
Michael Knowles.
Wait, what?
Was it Michael Knowles?
No, the other one.
Fucking
the
Ben
one,
Shapiro.
No, the other one, the one that has like a separate like talk show altogether. The one who says they proved me wrong. That guy.
Oh,
Steven Crowder.
Steven Crowder.
Steven Crowder. Thank you. Yes. So he asked a cross dresser, right? Who I think was like either bisexual or homosexual, but he asked him his thoughts on that whole matter, and to everyone's surprise, the dude was like, "No, I don't think it's a good idea, like at all. Like, this should not be happening in front of kids. Keep the kids completely out of this as far away as you can. And kudos to him wherever he's at. Much respect to him, who understands that whole situation and how dangerous it could be to have children around that type of spectacle. But he's a Democrat because he stated it in the in the interview. But that's like one example right there. You have a Democrat who is a homosexual, like cross dresser and all that, but who understands the importance of keeping the kids as far away from that type of spectacle as possible. So yeah, evil doesn't have a designated political party or a color or an age or a generation. Like he may said earlier, all walks of life. Like if I don't protect myself spiritually, I could be under huge like demonic and sinful attack, and I could, if I give in to my sinful desires, who knows where those sinful desires will take me? No one knows. So that could happen to anyone that allows themselves to be opened up to that type of situation. So yeah, I don't think the entire Democratic Party, what I'm saying, is infested with like, the PEDO situation. Because there's always like a good batch on both sides. But yeah, sadly, out in the open, you'll hear a good amount of them be like, yeah, like the government's doing the right thing by handling it the way they're handling it or whatever, and it's just weird. But oh, here we go. Thank you. That was, yeah. There's a gays against groomers group protesting drag shows. Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen their community, and it's a very respectable community. Like, in the sense of like them again acknowledging um, how important it is to keep kids out of that whole scenario. But yeah, let's move on with the video.
These people put the government above God, above their own families. They will sell their children into this government. It is insanity, the communist regime. It's insanity that people actually want it, but they're so dumb they don't know what they're asking for. So the website says, in regards to the cross-border transportation of children, in these situations, traffickers recruit and transfer children across international borders in order to sexually exploit them in another country. The traffickers can be individuals working alone, organized crime groups, enterprises, or networks of criminals working together to traffic children into prostitution across country lines. The section stated according to the Internet Archive. Now removed. They say this form of sex trafficking is a problem in the United States, and recovered victims originate from all over the world, including less developed areas such as South and Southeast Asia, Central Europe, and South America, to more developed areas such as Western Europe. The deleted portion continued. Once in the U.S., a child may be trafficked to any or multiple states within the country. These victims are often trafficked far from home and thrown into unfamiliar locations and culture. They may be given a false passport and other documentation to conceal their age and true identity. They may also struggle with the English language. All these factors make it extremely difficult for these children to come forward to law enforcement. Funny about that this is from the DOJ's own website. Where are they getting false passports and other documentation? Our own government is the ones giving it. The DOJ, the FBI, and the CIA. What people are just...
So about that, I'm glad he brought that up. I was, as a lot of you know, one of my past jobs was TSA officer at the Sanford Airport, right? And we're trained to recognize an authentic, legitimate genuine passport, license, all those things, right? There's things and tools that we have to help us verify how legitimate and true and to the T those passports or IDs are. Okay. We look every single time we check someone in at the airport. Like, it's not like I can choose who I check and don't. We have to check every single person that children who have passports, kids who have passports, adults who have licenses or passport, whatever. Like, we have to check every single passenger if they have like ID identification. So whether it be passport, license, or whatever it is, we check it every single one. And again, we have tools to help us find if a passport or license is legitimate or not. Um, I want to say that in the 4 years that I was there was only like maybe 2 times where a license was faked or when a passport was faked, and you can tell. Like, it's kind of like there's no there's no type of like passport or license that's almost legitimate, but it's still fake. It's either like faked to where you can tell, or it's like legitimate and you can tell. So I've always found that interesting how, and I've never asked myself this until like maybe recently, how these passports that are given to some of these kids that are being trafficked and moved around, like, they have to be legitimate because again, they're checked everywhere. Whether it be at the ticket office, whether it be at the TSA identification booth, whether it be through customs, they have to check them and they have to pass all these requirements for them to be considered legitimate. If not, if as much as just one thing is off out of like 10 things that we have to look at to make sure it's real, it's already discarded as real if it's just one thing wrong or off about it. Um, so it makes me wonder, like, just how is it that some of these traffickers are getting their hands on legitimate, original, authentic passports and licenses? Have you guys ever thought about that? Oh,
Oh, you're asking
I'll
me.
I'll let the real lady go first.
go ahead.
May you like elaborate a little bit on like the last point that you made? Or yeah, sorry.
Hmm. So basically, I was just acknowledging how me, with my personal experience, um, I can attest to or testify that these passports and IDs that these kids have are authentic. It's almost never the case that there's any forgery or trickery done with these passports. So they are legitimate and they are real and they are authentic. But it makes me wonder, how are these people who are trafficking the kids are being able to like get their hands on authentic passports for these children. Um, I don't know if you've ever thought about that. I don't know if you've ever thought about how is it possible for them to do that or get their hands on the real stuff. But yeah.
Yeah, if they have like hands in, government and also, those entities, then I wouldn't be surprised. Because if those are like authentic real passports, then there's a bigger thing that must be happening. Because I'm sure that the government, I can only speak for mostly for you in the United States. I'm pretty sure they do know that trafficking is happening, and it's a big, it's a billion-dollar industry. So I honestly can't see the government stopping it if it's, boosting the economy in some way. If it's doing that, like I can't see the government stopping it. I can see them helping it, unfortunately, if that is the case. So very, very scary, and it goes to show like it's it should be, we the people running things rather than we the big government. It should be, smaller government, so that way the people can be the ones, making, running it rather than the government. So yeah, very interesting. Not in a communist way, but like capitalist way. Just putting that out there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, yeah.
Red, what are your thoughts, man?
So, like, to expand on her point, it's the money. Like, so, like, I think Jim Caviezel even said it in a bunch of interviews, which I made a connection to because I obviously love my soccer. I love my European soccer, and he mentioned if you were to take the NFL, right, the money that's made by the NFL per year or something, and then on top of that you add European soccer, your Real Madrid, your Paris, your Bayern, your Barcelona, your these big European teams, and how much revenue they they bring in on a yearly basis. That's all of it combined is apparently still less than the estimated amounts that comes from child trafficking. And this is an industry where players, human beings, are sold for transfer fees upwards of 100 to 200 million euros um, a player, depending on how good they are, in the millions. These transactions are in the millions of euros. And somehow it's still not making as much money per year as child trafficking does, which it boggles my mind. It absolutely does, and and the only way I can imagine it having grown this big is obviously, yeah, it's like certain governments just don't give a shit. Um, Either they don't give a shit, or then even worse, they just aid in it, they participate in it, just to make matters worse. Um, and yeah, like Hime said, it's probably a way to keep certain governments afloat. Without the money that certain that these things bring in, who knows? Maybe like a poor government may go, for lack of a better term, tits up. That's what they say in England. Go belly up or whatever. It might completely implode without that sort of cash injection. And it's sad. But then I guess it's down to the governments whether they fight it or they participate willingly in it. It's a sad thing to consider. It's way too much money being made on a horrible thing.
Yeah. And I do think the government, like now that you mention that, I do definitely believe that the government is taking part of it, especially because, like, if you look at the PORN, the prawn industry, that one, that industry makes a lot of money and they traffic humans all the time. So it's like to see them making so much money by, exploiting people and trafficking people and doing all of that, but people won't bat an eye at it because, they just are addicted to it and all that kind of stuff. It's like I can definitely see, the the government profiting off of, evil like trafficking and not batting an eye because it's making a lot of money and it's like boosting their economy. So it's very scary, and that's why, like, definitely whatever the government is doing, they're not being very transparent, and whoever tries to be transparent, is unfortunately um
Blackballed.
yeah, light bulbs. Yeah, so it's very scary
Yeah,
times.
Isaac Cappy. Yeah, it's the term I like to use.
Yeah. Cappy, they got Cappied right there. Yeah.
Yeah, or freaking Avicii. Or
Yeah.
it's yes. I know you're a fan of the music industry, and I don't know if at some point you maybe have covered that whole conspiracy. They say that he actually got because that's scary too. To go on a bit of a tangent. Um, yeah, I mean, Avicii only made that song, and he was working on like some documentary with other people, and then he died mysteriously out of the blue. This young guy, right? And
Yeah.
it's creepy and shady as hell. Where I mean, it's to the point where so like these guys are like millionaires, right? And even millionaires with all the money in the world can't come up with a security force strong enough or skilled enough to prevent their deaths. So somehow, some way, it always happens. And that's the thing that fucking keeps me awake at night thinking, like,
Yeah.
how this happens.
You know what it is, bro? And I'm trying to bring on Bryden over here. So give me 1 second. But as I'm doing this, my opinion on your question on how it happens. Yeah, I'm gonna send it to you through the DMs, Bryden. It's gonna be my main account though. It's not gonna be the your boy JDQ or the other one. It's gonna be my personal account. Um, you know why I think it happens or how it happens, and this is my personal opinion. These nations, especially the United States, um, is not the godly country that many people think that it is. They have almost completely, if not entirely, given themselves up to Satan himself, and so for them, it's kids and children are just another number because of what they're being used for potentially behind closed doors. To them, it's just a modern day of sacrificing kids and children to Baal. It's like Baal worship. Um, and so as long as they keep seeing it that way and they keep thinking that this is going to give them more power and keep benefiting them in the way that it has up until now, they're gonna keep doing it and allowing it, But that's just my personal opinion. Um, I don't know if he may wants to add to that, but I'm just trying to bring on Bryden for a second. And this sharing link is like really random. I know it's always random, but it's just more random than usual. Okay. Yeah. There's a whole documentary on. Oh, by the way, Bryden, I just sent it to you right now. So just look in your DMs. You should have a link sent to you on there. There's a whole documentary on one of the channels that I follow where you see all the occultic stuff that is within, like some of the monuments, like the monuments around the states. Um, there's like Freemasonry stuff built into it or carved into it from like the founding fathers or like people that came afterwards. And yeah, so I mean that's my opinion on that whole matter.
So wait, hold on. Just I don't know if like it's so like these cults, right? So like are these cults also rooted in say like your idea? You take your religion very seriously, but aren't so these cults are also rooted in certain people perverting your religion to
Right,
suit their needs, right?
right.
And and then they pervert it far enough to where they accommodate um it's like rewriting the program coding on a computer, right? So it's like yeah, let me bend the rules to where hey, if you let me be alone with your child for a few minutes, you'll get in better graces with God or something like that.
No, I don't think it goes well. It's
I'm just talking strictly from like strict demented people that would pervert the good religion that people follow. I mean, it's.
Well, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I'll put it to you this way: in a lot of like satanic churches, there's women who are used as surrogates just to birth a child who's going to get sacrificed and they know it and they allow it. So there's one example right there.
Right.
But we'll get into that in another stream because that's a whole conversation right there. But that's like top of my head. That's an example right there to what you're saying. Like, you know, these women that are used for breeding children just to sacrifice them, they're that type of like perverted in the mind, or just they think it's for a better cause, if you will. You know what I mean? So they're okay with it. Bryden is here, so I'm gonna bring him on and have him say his piece. Bryden, can you hear me?
Hey, how are you?
Good, man. God bless you, brother. How's everything?
Thanks, man. Not bad, Jorge. You all right, bro?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Just here chilling with the brethren, as you can see.
I see that, man. Hey, I'd like to, first of all, respect Jaime. Jaime, you are awesome. I appreciate every decoy that is in this endeavor with us. You are one of the forefront members of the decoys, and I'll always love you for that.
Oh, thank you so much.
No, I mean, for real.
Bryden.
You're very welcome. Do you remember I was on a panel with you about 2 years ago with I think it was Terrence. Maybe
really?
a year. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You might remember me or not. It doesn't matter, regardless. But I still appreciate you. Anyways, this guy Red Hood over here, I don't know who he is.
Okay. Chop liver.
Yeah, what's up? What's going on, Red Hood?
What's up, Bryden?
Not much, man. I wanted to dive into this because this is one of my fortes. When it comes to religion and child sex abuse and the way that society is going down today, these are things that this is why I'm here. A lot of people may not know that or not, but I am an advocate of all children, anti-sex abuse, and anti-Satan. And he's behind it all, man. And a lot of people don't even realize this. They fail to understand why and how he has his little grubby mitts on everything that we do nowadays. But he really does. And it's all him. You see, and the whole reason behind this, I'm going to say it this time, and I'll say it only, is because that you see, God gave Satan the opportunity to take over our world today. And the whole reason that he did that was to show us that we could not guide ourselves. So a lot of people are out there saying, well, why doesn't God do this and why doesn't God do that? Well, if God just stepped in and eliminated the evil one, we would never know. So by doing this, now we have the chance to know why we can't govern ourselves.
And I've heard that I've heard that explanation before. I forget from who. It was like another pastor or preacher, but you're spot on about that, man.
Yeah, I mean, I tell you what, bro, I'm kicking it. Just a few years and I'm gonna be 60 years old. I've been
no way.
Yeah, thanks. You would never know, man. But I'll tell you what, man, in just a few years I'm gonna be 60. And
wow.
I'll tell you, I'll do a kick flip. What do you want me to do?
Okay.
Dude, what a lot of listen, man, what a lot of young people do not understand is the fact that they will look at an older person and they will say, oh, it's an old guy. He's an old fart. But what they don't understand is we are here the same time that you are.
Yep.
We've been through the same things that you have.
Mm-hmm.
We've also experienced 30 years beyond what you will ever understand.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so when they say, oh, it's just an old guy, he's an old fart, and this and that, man, and they don't understand that, they fail to realize just who we really are. You know, and no offense to anybody young, man. I'm putting that out there for the people that don't understand that why you should respect your elders. And there's a, the Bible says respect your elders, and there's a reason for that.
Amen.
It's because we've been through the things that everybody you guys are trying to go through. We've already been there. And so, a little help is appreciated, right?
That's correct. And you guys who are up there in age, and I'm not saying you're excluded from being up there in age.
Did you say 80?
No, well, I mean, I didn't say, but hey, you brought it up, so now I'm going to include you into that group now, because whoever said it dealt it. But like anyone who is of age, whether it be 40, 50, 60, whatever age, like past the 30 mark, has seen the tides change so drastically. And I'll give a good example. There's a lot of people from different generations that got to see the TV going from black and white to color.
That was me, man.
There you go. I mean, and I get goosebumps just thinking about it, because I feel a lot of people who come from that generation, I feel their pain, because I'm pretty sure, I got to see so many amazing, great things, like the golden era, if you will, of like society, and how it's been crumbling down from that point up until now. And even worse, when you're someone of the faith, you know that it's only going to get worse before it gets like any better. And I can feel that pain. I can feel that psychological and emotional pain, if you will, from like seeing how things were and how things are now. It's gotta hurt. So
it really does, man. You are so right. I'll
Yeah.
give you a quick example. Back in 19, let's put it, let's say 1980. Okay, or let's make it 76, or somewhere right around there. The game Pong came out. It was a tennis table game. And everybody and their dad just had to have it, man. All it was just like two little wide paddles on the side of your TV screen, and you hit a ball back and forth in a tennis game.
Yeah, I've seen it.
And then from there, now we have 1,000 people on army sides killing each other on video games. So that alone is just unreal.
Yeah. Well, I'll do you one better. It went from innocent games like Pong to demonic games like that one game that's a mobile game that you're like a goat, but you're trying to like not get sacrificed or something like that. It's like, how? How did we go from something so innocent like Pong to like trying to not become Satan's sacrifice? Like, what's going on here, yo?
And that's like that. I'd also say like that certain games, like we like the mainstream media thinks of it as a joke. Like YouTube thinks of it like, say, like Sonic. They came out with this variant called, I don't know if anyone's seen it, Sonic.exe, where like at the end, like Sonic gets like put through like a blood demonic ritual and he becomes like Satan or some shit. Yeah, and then he starts saying something in like Japanese, and when you translate it, it's like, I am the devil, I am all knowing, or whatever the fuck. It's like so like people think of it as a joke, and it's something to be like, oh, like a jump scare, right? But then, who knows? I mean, maybe the creator behind that genuinely meant every demented thing that game said. It's just a perversion of games.
Red, I will attribute it to this, okay? Everybody has to have a one-up on something else that was before them, and if you're not going to go, you can't one-up on the good side, because if you're good, man. There's no one-up. You're decent. But you can always get more evil, and that's the whole point behind all these games, dude. You can always get worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. I mean, how can you ever get better than being good? because there's nothing, you get what I'm saying? There's nothing good on the good side but being good. But if you want to be evil, okay, I'm going to start off stealing a piece of candy. Right? Oh, that's evil. That's bad. You stole something. Well, then what's worse from that? You can always go down, dude. But from the level playing field, and let's look at it from this point of view, how can you go up? You can only stay up. There's no going up higher. There's nothing that you can even, you know what I'm saying, besides putting down what's below you. So, and that's the reason why all these games get worse. It's the reason why all these people get worse. It's the reason why all our news chapters and not chapters, you know what I'm saying, our news stories get worse. It's the reason behind all this stuff going down, 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 and more down.
Right. Yeah.
Now, not to interrupt you guys, but to close this tangent up, if anyone needs the greatest example of what we're talking about right now, this movie that I put like on the screen is a must watch. So the premise of this movie, without taking too long, is basically and in the early late centuries or whatever, this guy who's on the cover, he is able to like make this time machine, right? And mind you, in the era where he makes the time machine, like people were like still like like actual genuine like Christian. The society was like still very much like heavy in like going to church. They had the fundamental like family values. Everybody respected each other, blah blah blah, right? But then he sends one of his like associates to go to the future, just to see like how things like turn up. And the guy who he sends to the future, he starts seeing like everything like just cursing in the movies, people like taking God's name in vain, no one respecting each other. He starts seeing all like the downfall of like society, and he can't believe it. He's like shocked that people openly like cuss and curse, and it's a must watch, to be honest with you. So Time Changer is the name, as it says right there on the screen. You don't have to buy the DVD. I'm not saying to buy the DVD, but if you can find it anywhere, it's a definite like must watch for sure.
I mean, is it like is it bad if we like pirate it?
You know what? I'm not gonna say yes
I'm
or no.
messing with you, man.
I'm gonna say whatever you feel is the right thing to do.
Is that a sin? Because I've been sinning every week whenever the Superman
Right on,
stuff
Red.
comes on.
Me too, brother. Me too.
Oh my god!
I get all my stuff that way. Right? All you got to do is just click, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure it's streaming
It's not
somewhere.
my fault
anyways.
they got those websites.
It's probably on my pirate website. If I can say, wait, what's the movie called again? I have it as my save tab.
Time Changer. I can put it up on the. I can put it up on the screen again.
Is it the Time Changer or just Time Changer?
Go back 10 seconds and delete, bro, before you get hit by the feds.
Oh, just Time Changer. What year?
Let's see.
What year was it made?
This got to be like early 2000s. But I'm trying to see if it says it anywhere on here.
Oh, on a good point, real quick, man. If anybody out there is involved with the website BitTorrent, okay, they're gonna get hit next. They are on the list by the feds. There are so many people out there that are downloading child sexual assault material on that website. Everybody on that website is going to be scrutinized within 1 month. It's going down now. So I'm not saying this to tell anybody here don't do it,
right?
Because hopefully anybody that that's listening to this isn't doing it. But just get off of it and don't download anything in there because you will be hit. Just telling you right now. Well,
that's a good heads up to anyone who is using BitTorrent. I haven't used BitTorrent in years, but it's one of the places that I used to go to a lot back in the day when I was like downloading like music production software and all that stuff. It's a great site to like.
Yeah, I mean, uTorrent was number one back in the day. They got slapped They're still around. Actually, there's a third uTorn account that's still running around, and they're based in Ukraine now.
Oh wow,
But yeah, believe it or not, right?
that is
But
interesting. Yeah,
yeah, but they're still around. But all those torrent sites are getting hit, man. So, and the
that's good
United
to
States
look out.
government, they're just waiting on people to. I guess you got to have about maybe 3 gigs or so downloaded before they even look at you.
Yeah, yep, that sounds about right. Well, especially like here on YouTube, it's the same exact thing too. Like, and if you say, I think it's like certain keywords or whatever, like the algorithm will like start to like derail your stream or video. Just
Yes, and yep, and your notifications won't be shown,
yep,
and then you'll be like, you're on that little blacklist, man.
yep, that's correct. I
I just
appreciate
found it.
you found it, bro.
Yeah, I just found it. It's on my my pirate website.
Nice. I'm sorry I couldn't give you the year that it came out because
It's like about a professor in 1890 or a Bible.
Yep, I got it too, man.
Yeah, I got
Thanks,
it.
George.
Say my full name, why don't you?
Like we know, bro. Come on.
Dogs.
I love it. Well, yeah, no. I hope
I
you
didn't,
guys.
man.
enjoy
I
it.
don't know. I'm not going to say your last name because I can't pronounce it right.
I mean, I guess that's a plus in my favor. Not
got
too
it,
many
brother.
people can pronounce it, so
Well, I
keep not
can't.
being able to.
I'm just saying, man. You know what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, I appreciate it, man. But those are good, awesome words of wisdom, brother. And I'm pretty sure I can speak on behalf of everyone here and say we do appreciate the words of wisdom that you bestowed upon us. Um, and we appreciate someone of your age that, number one, you look younger than your age, and
You
I'm sure
talking to
everyone will
me?
agree to that. Yeah, I'm talking to you. Not talking
Damn it.
to Red. Red looks like he's like the opposite. He's older than what he really is. But in all playfulness and honesty, like I'm sure I can speak on everyone's behalf here and say that we appreciate you. And
Well, you know what? Hey, all right. The bottom line is, man, is that I just I don't want this stuff to get any worse than what it already is. And I got a family of six kids here chilling at my house, bro. 3 are mine, 3 are my grandchildren, which my son neglected. And I was a victim of child sexual abuse myself. So the last thing that I need is for any of these kids or any of the people that are around me to have to go through the things that I went through as a child. And that's the number one thing that I stick up for. It's the number one reason why I've always been in the community that I'm in. And I'm not going to stop. And it doesn't matter how many trolls come at me, they're not going to take away who I am. You know what I'm saying, man?
And that's
It just doesn't happen. It's not going to happen. It will never happen.
Well, amen to that, and power to you, man. And
Thank
it shouldn't
you.
matter. It shouldn't matter.
Hey,
What
and
the
you know
trolls
what?
do to
You've always been a damn good influence to me. Pardon the French.
say. You good?
Yeah, I mean, because it is a swear word, right?
yeah, it is technically, yeah.
So just saying, man. Hey, and Red Hood, man, I'm glad to be able to step on panel with you without getting into an argument, man. I love you, brother. You take care of yourself. Jaime, you are the most awesome decoy. I'm going to step down, you guys.
All right, you
Thank
take
you,
care,
thank
Bryden.
you, and God
Thanks for
bless
being here,
you.
Bryden.
Thank you so much.
All right, take care, guys.
God
Or
bless
hey,
you, Bryden.
be good to yourself and others.
Oh, always, man. Always. I have no choice. I'm compelled to.
You know it, man. All right, peace, guys.
Yes, sir. Take it easy. That was nice. That was refreshing to have someone who's been part of the community. Well, not only from this community, but from the larger community where this channel stems from. Join us on the panel. So, Bryden, again, bro, thanks for being here. We appreciate it. But yeah, so I'm curious to know between you guys. And I was gonna ask this to Bryden before he left, but um, just interested out of curiosity, and I'll start closing things out little by little. But um, he may first. What percentage do you think, in your opinion, um, of these kids and these children and all that are actually being used for like satanic ritual abuse or anything concerning that matter, and how much are used for anything else?
I would say it must be a higher number than people realize, but it's at the moment it's kind of difficult to put a number on it because I feel like I haven't done enough research. But I do strongly believe that it is a lot more than we think. Maybe over like, I would say like a little like over 50%. I would say, but and then the rest would just be like, well, yeah, because one part of my brain is like, well, I wonder if like sexual abuse to these adults, constantly R-wording a child every single day and like, guys lining up to harm a child. Like to me, or that could be argued as a form of like, that could be argued as a form of sacrifice, and it's demonic nonetheless. Um, so I don't know a certain number, but I do believe it's higher than we realize. Yeah.
What about you, Red? What do you think?
I'd give credit to the theory or notion that it might be a bit higher than people anticipates. Mostly because, like, for instance, take me when I was in there watching the movie, the whole satanic thing was at the very back of my mind,
Mm-hmm.
and I focused on maybe the sexual abuse and shit like that. Um, but then excuse me, it got me to think that yeah, it's probably going on way more frequently than people are just letting on or they want to accept, or I don't know, like if people believe in Satan and the devil, um and just like there's many people devoted to God and Jesus, there's people devoted to the that other guy. So he's and it's in particular it's the youth, like the 17-18 year olds, 16-year olds, the older, more powerful youths. So they're still kids, but they're more powerful, that can easily you know sacrifice a much younger child, a baby, a toddler, or whatever. um, and that's what I'm just realizing now. So it shit goes much deeper than people maybe want to admit, uh, and it definitely goes much deeper than we initially thought. Because again, it's just not at the front of everyone's minds. Like people just think, oh yeah, it's sexual abuse, that's it. No, like there could be tons of other shit that these kids are being used for, and the satanic the satanic stuff. It's unfortunately one of the ones that's more prevalent the more I'm looking into it. So it's sad.
So, and I know Hime's gonna back me up on this. Red was black pill now. I know Hime's gonna back me up on this. Even biblically, there's always been power in the blood, and I'll explain and expand on this real quickly because I'm gonna start closing things out soon. But so, for example, before before Jesus died on the cross and sacrificed himself, basically, um, people always had to like kill a pure, clean, the most pure and clean animal or like lamb for forgiveness and all this other stuff, which is the reason why you know Jesus had to kind of like be that perfect sacrifice, that last perfect sacrifice, once and for all, like to die for our sins in our place, right? But
Yeah.
the people that worship Satan, um, the same rules when it comes to blood sacrifice applies to them, and I'll explain. So, like, people who are in Satanism and all that, devil worship, and I'm talking about like the higher ups. Um, it's not only their belief, but it's the actual case, sadly, that when they seek more power and more influence and more, whatever they're after, they do have to make like human sacrifices. But not only that, the younger the person that is sacrificed, the more power they gain. So that's where you have a lot of these people who not only are devil worshippers or saint worshippers, but they're like part of the elite class. That's where you have a lot of them, like sacrificing like kids, children, babies, and all that, because they're after that power. They're after that, and I will say this, and I've said it in the past. A lot of people, because of what they've seen in shows and movies, having magic fantasized, or fantasticalized, or however you want to like phrase that. Um, they don't think that it's real. They think it's like, oh, it's fun to think about, but it's not real. No, no, no. Magic is real, and there's a reason why God warns against it, and why God pretty much like forbids it. It's not because just because he's a jealous God and that's it. It's because magic works, but like as I said last time, it works through Lucifer himself. He's the one giving the power and giving all these things to the people who are like worshiping him and all that. But obviously, if you're doing all that, you're headed down the wrong path if you don't repent, if you don't turn from your ways and turn to Jesus. So it doesn't matter what power the devil gives you if you're like having to sacrifice a human being or an animal or a baby. Like if you don't turn away from that, you're headed down, to hell with him. At the end of the day. So it is real sad, but it is true and it is a reality. You know, it's not something that anyone should be after, and It's not something that anyone should do in order to gain this power and wealth and all this other stuff. Um, because it's not worth it. It's not worth sacrificing a living being just for that. You know what I mean? Um, but yeah, like I think you guys said it best. There might not be a specific number that we can say, but I agree wholeheartedly that not only is it like more than what we think or more than what we know, but I can guarantee almost that it's beyond more than half of the percentage that is being used for that reason. Um, Bubba says, yeah, torture, drink blood sacrifices, eat them, body parts, organ harvesting, and so on. Locked in cages, bound, messed up, sick, depression, sad. The McMartin video shows tunnels leading to an altar in the hills, and the kids all talk of sacrifices. Yeah, like, and again, it sucks that a lot of people dismiss what these kids have said in the testimonies. Why would a kid? Number one, kids are they go through something and they'll memorize everything almost to a T because of how good their brain and memory is functioning at that period of time. If all these kids were able to like explain and describe and pretty much like logically map out what they saw and how they saw it and they saw what happened on separate interviews, like, you know what I'm saying? It's not like they interviewed them all together. They did separate interviews and the stories coincided. You know what I mean? Not only did they coincide, but they were extremely detailed of what they saw and what they experienced. Um, so I don't know why people would dare to even question or doubt these kids that went through all that. Um, But anyways, hundreds of kids. I have an extensive knowledge of the Bible. Jorge, you can't say on a cross. He died for us, but not in a phallic symbol, like you mentioned. It was a staple. Uh Man, that one, Bryden, that one's up for. I would say it's up for debate. But I have heard of what you're saying, and I know why. I know why you're saying it. I know why. Um, Due to like historical analysis and all that, I understand why you're saying what you're saying. But on that one, we'll do a whole separate stream if you want altogether to talk about that. But if it makes it any better, just so that we don't have any controversy and nothing like that, I'll just leave it at Jesus died for us. Jesus died for us in our place for our sins, whether it was on a stake or a cross. I mean, that's up for debate, but doesn't really matter. You know, it's not something that I think will like condemn or save you. What really matters is that he died in our place for our sins, in order for us to have access to the Father. Um, but yeah, thanks for bringing that up. I appreciate it, and I respect all that. So, um, I am going to start wrapping things up though, because like I said earlier, I do respect everyone's time, and it's about to be 3 hours on here. So I apologize to both of you if we stayed on for too long. Um, and I don't know if you guys want to add or expand on anything else before we start closing things out officially. But y'all have the floor to do so if you want.
No, yeah, I mean it's oh, again.
Oh, I was gonna say Red, you can go.
You go ahead. Go ahead.
No. I was gonna say Red, you can go first.
Okay, fine. Yeah, I mean it's I don't know. It's well, it's an interesting thing, and it's something that I like exploring, and it fascinates me because there's as much as many people like to say things are black and white, not everything is black and white. Like there's people seemingly on the side of the righteous that are secretly pulling the strings, and then there's people who may be on the side of the not so righteous that are secretly working in favor towards a better tomorrow. And it's like it sucks that we can't assess everyone on a case by case basis, but then we can always try our best to do that, and by just becoming better overall understanding of people and how they think, I think that it could work well in favor of stopping all these horrific things from happening to the most vulnerable. So.
Right on, man. Right on. I appreciate those thoughts. And to be completely honest with you, I just saw something as you were saying what you were saying that might complement it a little bit. Apparently, Trump, if elected, would propose death of any human trafficker. I need to just make sure I read that clearly.
The death penalty.
Yeah. So it says here, yeah, Trump proposes death penalty for human trafficking. I mean, whether it would go through or not, we don't know. But the fact that someone is proposing that, yeah.
If dying doesn't deter you, I mean, I don't know what will.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's so messed up. If I don't even know if dying doesn't deter you, yeah, you're more than a lost cause.
Yeah. What do you think about that, brother?
Yeah,
H?
I'm very supportive of President Trump bringing death penalty to traffickers. It's like if you're, as he said, if as Red, yeah, as Red said, if that's like not a deterrent, then that's pretty, that's pretty evil if somebody's gonna continue doing that to a child. There's also, yeah. So that I hope, and I know that like it's very likely that Trump would, if he gets elected, that he would do it because when he was president, I mean, he was very adamant about keeping, honoring the things that said he would do. So if I'm hoping that America, votes responsibly, but yeah, I mean, and again, like there's creeps and weirdos on all sides, but yeah.
Yeah. With me, man, I know a lot of people like probably get stressed out listening to when it comes to like this specific matter. They probably like cringe a little and they're like, "Ah, come on, man, you're too nice" or whatever. What I would do, because sadly, and I've said this in the past, so it shouldn't be too much of a shock or surprise. I say like, sadly, everyone deserves like a second chance. So what I would do is if the person is indeed a human trafficker or child trafficker or whatever, I would definitely give them like life in jail. Um, but also on top of that, before doing that, I would probably like process them and put them through like a very intense, rigorous like lie detector scenario and be like on the spot, like, hey, if you hadn't been caught, would you have been still doing this? Yes or no? If they say yes, they get the death penalty right there and then. If they say no, they get life in jail. You know what I'm saying? With no chance of parole, no bailing out, nothing like that. Just straight up life in jail, and you're just gonna rot there. Um,
I put him through people's elbow, bro. We're getting stone cold stunner, bro. But
yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's hard to. I mean, I don't know. That's why. This might be a personal question. Is that kind of why? I mean, did you ever think? Like, were you always, Obi-Wan Kenobi, or did you ever think that? Did you ever think that if you were face to face with one of these guys, you'd completely, obliterate them?
No, I've always been Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Oh.
I have I have
So
I don't know.
uncivilized.
I don't know how to explain it. I'm just extremely patient. Um, because the thing is, we're not judge or executioner, nor should we take that spot or place or position to be judge or executioner. Um, and obviously, it should be dealt with, and it should be dealt with in a legal matter and as best as possible. Um, but I really do try my best to put myself in a lot of people's like shoes. Like, what if this was like my son? What if this was my brother? What if this was my nephew? What if this was my cousin? What if this was my so and so, so and so, so?
Exactly. Yeah.
Would I just like straight up just smack their face or like kick them and trample them or be violent with them or whatever like on the spot just because of what they did or what they're doing? It's tough. I try my best to put myself in people's shoes. Um, what if I was that person? You know what I'm saying? Like, and I just always understood that sure these people should be handled and should be dealt with, but number one, as legal as possible, so that there's no one's being sued for anything. That's one, and number two, in some way, shape, or form, give them a chance to like repent and turn from their ways in jail. That's why I say they could rot in jail like until they die, but at least you're still giving them a chance for them to redeem themselves in there.
Right.
Um,
Yeah. Exactly.
that's the way I've always looked at it.
And
And
I felt that way more towards the younger people,
right,
where like I wasn't gonna like I always go back to the example of Mike Carter, like that predator that Alex got. Old motherfucker, 60
right.
years of experience, 60 years of knowing what's right and what's wrong.
Hmm.
Um, I'm obviously, people can use this, oh, they're all the same, they're all the same. In my eyes, not really, because, um, it could be like the more dubious that and the harder it gets to, um, you know, uh, to just write someone off and say, like, if they're like 20 or something, or even a younger a bit, and they did something a bit, sus. I'm like, there's time to put them on the right path and not have their entire lives ruined. Depends on the severity, obviously, and it's on a case by case basis. But uh, I have no sympathy and no patience for these older guys that years, decades of experience, years of knowing what's right and wrong, um, years of potentially having been a trusted individual, um, and they still do it. Years, right?
Hmm.
And it's I don't know, and this question of redemption. I don't know if you're familiar with the story of Anakin Skywalker. It involves children, right? So do you know what
Mm,
or have you seen? So
no.
like it's in Star Wars, right? So he's basically like Star Wars is Jesus,
Okay.
but then the the Jedi, the good guys, stupidly hand him over to the devil, the bad guy, right? And he gets corrupted. So it's like and then as part of his corruption, he slaughters the young children. But then it's like this super big debate. So he slaughters the children, like absolutely. But then at the very end, Luke Skywalker, his son, redeems him again. He It's one of the most controversial things, especially I want to bring it up since we're on the topic of kids, because like this guy, it's just a thought experiment. He slaughtered kids, but then at the very end, 5 movies later, or 3 movies later, he gets redeemed. He becomes one with the good side of the force. It's and it's a stark contrast. Like, is it just that that's a work of fiction and they just accept it, or is that indicative as to what people really think? Like, how far is that indicative of how far people can go and still be redeemed? Is that what people really think of how far you can go and still be redeemed, or something like that? I don't know. It's a question to 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 think about, and I always it's not a concrete answer, obviously, because
Right.
bunch of things go into it, and it's lots of stuff that go into determining those factors. But it's just the question of, yeah, how far in certain people's perspectives do people need to go before, like, where's your cutting board, where, like, what small action, what interval is there between, hey, I can no longer redeem you, and then, yeah, I can redeem you, or something, or you could be saved internally and externally. So the last comment, in movies, yes, but Dahmer couldn't be redeemed. Yeah, it's true.
Well, hold on. I'm glad that's brought up because I
Oh
was
wait, he got baptized, right?
right
Yep.
in jail. He got baptized and he basically did like a 180. You know what I mean? Um, so the problem is that we as humans, and I'm even including myself in here, even though I don't think that way, but I'm gonna generalize it. We as human beings, it's like if we don't see violence or punishment in a very aggressive form or a violent way, or death or whatever, we don't deem that person being able to be redeemed or whatever. But and I know Hime's gonna probably bring this up. When Jesus was, sacrifice, giving himself up in our place, um, he told the thief next to him, like, hey, you're gonna be like with me in paradise or whatever, right? So we don't know what that thief on the side of Jesus like did or went through. He might have been, you know what I'm saying, the biggest thief of all time. Maybe he robbed everyone there. Maybe he killed people along the way. We don't know what he did to earn that spot. You know what I'm saying, next to Jesus. But apparently it was really bad because that was one of the worst punishments at the time. So it was bad. So if Jesus told him that he was going to be redeemed, and he probably did whatever he did, then there always is through Christ, okay, and through Christ alone, there's always redemption. The problem is that when we're faced with a situation where we become judge or executioner or whatever, like we don't think of ways of like, you're gonna be punished for sure for what you did, but you're also going to have that opportunity to be redeemed between like you and God. That being said, he may take it away. You're gonna say something.
Yes, I actually just pulled out my Bible for this. So, yeah, so going back to the death penalty, I do think, well, it's kind of something that I'm still like thinking about. Like, I don't know if I'm completely for or completely against the death penalty, because I do think it's a case by case basis. So, for example, like I was watching, I recently just got back into true crime, and I was watching this documentary on Netflix about the Boston bombers, and like I never knew that, or I didn't know that one of the brothers that did the bombing was more radicalized than his younger brother, who kind of, to his peers and to his mentors and to the people around him, he seemed like the kind of kid to like go with whatever his older brother is doing. So it's like, he was very social, he was very friendly, he was funny, he had a riz. But then like when his brother that he looks up to is kind of like telling him like, hey, let's go do this, then it kind of like brings into question, well, because if his brother was still alive, he would definitely have the death penalty. But since his younger brother is alive, the one who's less radicalized, it's kind of like, well, shoot, now we're trying to find, now it seems like the prosecution is just kind of painting him as a person that his brother truly was, rather than him. So it's very interesting, like each case by case basis is. But then again, he was 19, he was a consenting adult, he still made the decision that he made, and it's very inexcusable. But going back to the death penalty, it's like, as a Christian, I do believe that the Lord can reach out to anybody, kind of like how the Lord, Jeffrey Dahmer, he got baptized and then he made a 180 in prison. And it does seem like, and I have a whole video on it on my channel, not a video, it's kind of like an episode, because I have a podcast called Hime Sunny. And on one of the episodes, I do talk about like, is it possible for a thief, for a murderer, for an SCX offender to go to heaven? And, as we were talking about, like the thief on the cross, it is possible because, the one thing that is needed is repentance. And that thief on the cross next to Jesus, he had repentance and he truly repented. He didn't mock Jesus like the other thief did next to him, but rather he repented. And in Luke 23:42, it says that the thief told the Lord, remember me when you come into your kingdom. And then, Jesus, he was loved and he was loving and he was merciful. And he responded with compassion by saying, I say to you today, you will be with me in paradise. So it goes to show that truly anybody, if you are truly repentant, you can, you do have grace. The Lord offers you that grace. So for example, like when I was watching this documentary, I heard or I saw that like before the younger brother got captured by the police, it's alleged that he tried to like unlive himself when he was, before he came out of hiding. And to me, I see that as like, wow, what if the Lord is like reaching out to him and saying like, no, like, don't unalive yourself. Like, I want to give you this opportunity to be alive and to have this opportunity to know me and to, be forgiven and to repent of what you did. And that, so it's those little things that the Lord does, those little nudges and those moments of honestly a blessing, that it's a blessing that he is alive to, be convicted, to, see the survivors like tell their stories. It's a blessing that he's alive. So it's really interesting that I don't know if in that regard, I don't know if I believe that the death penalty, I don't know I don't know if I'm completely on board with it or if I'm completely not on board with it, because it is possible for the Lord to give people opportunities to know him and to repent of what they did. And, the Lord doesn't want to see people to going to hell. He wants people to live with him and, in heaven. That's why he sent Jesus to die in the first place. So I can definitely, when they're executed, you're either going to heaven or you're going to hell. And, one of those is a blessing and one of those is, an absolute curse, you know what I'm saying? So it's very interesting. It's very interesting. And I don't know where I stand with it on it yet. But one thing I do stand with is that the Lord can protect, or not protect, but the Lord can, actually he can protect. But in the case of a murderer and an offender, the Lord can redeem anybody as long as they themselves are repentant. And it's their choice. It's our choice. You know what I mean? Like, it is our choice to choose the Lord or to not choose him. And, we have the same choice just as much as a murderer does, and a trafficker does. And, victims have that same choice. So that's how I see it. And I just that's the point that I wanted to make. Yeah.
And I'll just I'll just add on to what you just said, and I'll highlight and really, really like make it crystal clear, because a lot of people, they misunderstand when you and me like talk about this. They misunderstand and they think, oh, so if they say they're sorry, like that's it. No, 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 no. It's one thing to say you're sorry, and another thing to be genuinely repentful. Like you're genuinely repenting of what you did, versus just saying a quick "I'm sorry" or saying, or explaining why you're sorry. It's two very big. They look similar and they sound similar, right? Because obviously, if you're remorseful and repentful, then yeah, you're sorry. But it's one thing to say that you're sorry, and another thing is to like really display and be genuine about it. The thief on the cross was genuinely sorry, and that's why he got that second chance that he did. Not everyone who says they're sorry are actually sorry. Not everyone who says my bad generally is remorseful or repentful of like what they did. So just to make that crystal clear without a shadow of a doubt, it's not. We don't think that if they say they're sorry, that's it. No, it goes beyond that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah. Thank you for pointing that out. Cause I also wanted to add, like, for example, Jeffrey Dahmer, I do believe that he truly repented in prison, which,
man.
like, yeah, because he got baptized and he was pretty changed. So I do, but just because, like, when I say quote unquote changed, I don't mean like he was a saint after that. Like, he's still kind of
Right.
like, he was still a sketchy person, but he was, he did accept Christ as far as we know. But for example, like Ted Bundy, on the night before he died or he was executed, or a couple nights before he was executed, a pastor came to visit him, to pray with him, and give him the Bible. And it was, allegedly said by the pastor that, Ted Bundy was like holding the Bible and he was like really contemplating. I forget if he was crying, but he was contemplating. And to me, that's kind of like, see, at that moment, the Lord has given him that opportunity to accept him or not. And I think that, like, someone like Ted Bundy, for example, like, did he truly repent? I truly don't know. But, like, he does seem like the kind of person to be manipulative and to say that he did. But we don't really know. So I know for sure John Wayne Gacy didn't. I
Right.
don't know. Yeah, for sure the Night Stalker didn't. But he didn't get executed. He kind of died from the cancer. But, like, people like that, it's kind of like, it's a case-by-case basis. And, the Lord, it's a case by case basis. So yeah, that's what I wanted to add, and I completely agree, JDK. I completely agree.
Yep. We will never truly know. Only God and that person that did or didn't repent will just know. They'll be the only ones to truly know. But we can only go off of what we see in the report, and that's as much as we get. You know,
I have a
as far
quick
as like
question.
insight. Yep.
Where do you think? How do you think someone? How do you think God? Like, this is a genuine question. How do you think
Mhm.
someone like God looks at someone like the Punisher? Like, it's yeah, and my namesake Red Hood.
Right,
How
right,
do you
right.
think he looks at these people who
I'll get.
absolutely massacre these evil people, but yet
Mhm.
they're massacring these people? How do you think? Yeah, how do you think God looks at people like that?
I'll give you a very playful yet realistic dramatization opinion of what I think, how he looks at it. So as he's watching all this happen, he's probably like, you know, it's not right, but I give it to you. It's one way of doing it. It's not how I would do it, but I mean, I could have saved that one. Oh no, I was gonna do something with that person's family. Great, now I have to draw up a new plan. Oh wait, what are you doing with that one? I was,
He said, "Oh, I was gonna make him slip on a banana peel and break his neck." Oh, you're
yeah,
disemboweling now? Okay, okay,
yeah, exactly.
okay.
Like no, put the machete down. Oh
Oh, damn it,
man,
damn it!
the
You're
kid
going
was
to hell
watching.
now. But
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to send you to hell. But thanks, bro. You saved me from doing.
it was like, man, like, okay, that one I was going to dispose of the other day, so that's fine. But
Okay.
no one really like knows. It's a tough question to answer because, like he may said earlier, God doesn't want anyone to like go to hell. He wants to, bring as many people and creations as he, made to his heavenly kingdom. So if we just, because trust me, bro, I've thought about it so many times. I've thought about like getting myself like some good weaponry, some good protective gear, and just closing down some of these trap houses and these like drug places. I've thought about all that. I've thought about like, you know what I mean, like doing
That's
some
what
like,
that's what I'm saying, because someone like the Punisher could be real. Like
yeah,
it's a human walking armory that just goes around mowing all these horrible people down with guns, whatever. And then I'll even go as far as to say, canonically, Ghost Rider isn't an agent of hell. He's an agent of God. Like, canonically,
hmm,
and then the only person who can kill a Ghost Rider is the God himself. So he acts as an agent of God, but then, like, upon look, he's like a literal demon. He's like a devil, right? But then
yeah,
he acts in service of God. So it's like, it's a question. It's been like, how does God look at um soldiers, regular soldiers? Like, yeah, they're murdering people overseas,
hmm,
but then again, it's in service to prevent worse things from happening, to
right,
protect their homeland. I mean,
yeah. I'm
there's a
sure,
lot of gray area there that I don't feel is explored a lot.
yeah. I'm sure, because for example, like in times of Moses, when the whole like plagues were like attacking like the Egypt and all that, the guy did send the angel of death. You know what I'm saying, to like basically go door to door and like kill like the firstborn or whatever. That would be the equivalent of Ghost Rider in that moment. But there was a purpose for it. There was a purpose behind it. It's not like he was just doing that just to do it. You know?
Oh yeah, did he send to kill the firstborns
Right.
of like the pharaoh, right?
Well, he sent to and correct me if I'm wrong, Hime. But he sent the angel of death to kill the firstborns of whoever didn't have the blood of the lamb on the marking of their homes. So
Right.
technically, no one had to die, but those who didn't, heed to the warning were, were going to succumb to the consequences. You can correct me if I'm wrong, Hime.
I saw the Charleston Heston movie, and yeah, because I saw him after he was trying to pray to like Anubis or whatever the hell his name is to bring his son back, like his god.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but the god,
Mm-hmm.
like it was like the green mist, right? That swept through the entire city and it was
Exactly.
killing children left, right, and center. Hey, it's something like that. Those who didn't have the mark,
Yep.
um, were not spared, unfortunately. So.
Yeah. So, are y'all talking about like the Passover in the Old Testament?
No,
Yeah.
Is that what it's called?
The
yeah.
not the well, I don't know if it's traduced that way, but like the plagues that God had sent to Egypt,
Yeah.
while God was trying to bring His people out of Egypt.
Yeah, the final plague, which was like the plague of the firstborn, I
Right.
think it was
Yeah.
called. Yeah, so like what was the question? Was it like why did he send that, or like
Well, no, I was just trying to make sure that I verbally the account that I was like explaining was like biblically correct. I didn't want to say anything that was not biblical about that.
oh,
So
yes, yeah. You got it pretty spot on. Yeah.
praise God.
Amen.
Um, but I mean, it is a good question to ask because I mean, like I said earlier, if I had my way and if I didn't know God and I didn't know any of what I know, I probably would take it upon myself to be some type of like vigilante and like just sweep, you know what I'm saying, like crack houses or like trap houses or drug houses, gang houses, and just sweep through them because it's like taking care of like the bad weed from the roots, if you will. Um, and I've always kind of like imagined how great that might feel, but then at the same time, I start thinking, you know, a lot of those people who are sadly in that type of lifestyle have family who are not part of that lifestyle, who are like praying for them to get out of that lifestyle, who want the best for them, and who are actually genuinely good people. You know, they're gonna suffer in some way, shape, or form unnecessarily. You know, and just a whole bunch of other factors to consider um, before like mindlessly just be like, oh, I know this house is like a gang house, so let me just, you know what I mean? Like with no type of like consideration of like extended families who probably are nowhere near connected to what those people are connected to. And just so much to consider at the end of the day, man. But God knows what He does and why He does it the way He does and why He allows what He allows. I just put it to you that way. So there will be a time where the the good and faithful will be separated from the weed. You know, there's a parable in the Bible about that, which I'm not going to bring up right now. But for those of you who are truly, genuinely interested, just look it up in the Bible. There's a parable where God talks about how in the end days, the weeds will be separated from like the good seed, if you will. Um, but yeah. Anyways, guys, you have any last words? Because I will start officially wrapping things up right now. So if you guys have
I'm
final
good,
words.
bro. Thanks for having me up once again.
Thanks for being here, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having me on again. I'm glad I got to elaborate a little bit and say my words.
Amen to that. I was gonna play more of the clip from earlier, but it is 11:16 p.m. So it's kind of late, and I don't want to. I don't want to like steal anyone's time any further. Um, but I'll let Red and Hime go. Um, for those of you who were here from start to finish, I appreciate you. Um, those who were here for like a few seconds, a few minutes, I appreciate you as well. If you're wanting to, you don't have to, you don't need to, but if you wanted to subscribe to Red or Hime's channel, I highly encourage it. I highly, highly recommend it. Don't take my word for it. I'm pretty sure everyone in the live chat could attest to like them being like great content creators. I still have to brush through a lot of videos that she has, my apologies, on her channel. Because I did start watching something the other day, but I want to follow through and watch more of her content. And Red Hood, I mean, Red Hood is a man of all trades, or many trades. So if you're wanting like a mixed bag of content, although I will say he does mostly commentary, um, he's your guy. As you can see, though, he has a great mind, as does Hime. They have they're awesome intellectuals. I'll just leave it at that. There's so much that I can say about them, but I'll leave it at they're awesome individuals, intellectuals, smart people. They're great people to have deep conversations with, and I recommend them to anybody and everybody. So, um, on top of that, if you're wanting to bless the channel and you're trying to bless your boy here, my family, the team of Vision IBTV, there's ways of doing that within the description area or the banner that's pretty much floating under us right now. And there's like, as always, PayPal and Cash App links if you're trying to do it that way. Again, you don't have to, you don't need to. I'm not asking you to, but if you can and want to, those are options available for you guys to bless this channel, myself, my family, and the team. So, do you guys want to link something in the live chat that where they can like bless you guys as well, or
Just my channel. That's it. My channel.
I don't.
That is it. No Cash App, no nothing. Just my channel. I hope to be up here more often because, as anything JDQ goes, it's always a nice time. It's always a good conversation. So, and yeah, I've also officially crossed the 900 mark, like soundly. So there's no time for people to be assholes and unsubscribe to get me back to 800. So yeah, I'm well and truly on my way to 1K.
Awesome.
So yeah, that's literally just my channel. That's it. If anything, it's just my channel and Hime's too.
Awesome.
I don't know how many subs Hime has, but yeah.
By all means, yeah, definitely keep subscribing to Hime's channel as well. Hime, you were gonna say something?
Oh yeah, congrats on hitting 900. That's a very big accomplishment. That's awesome. I was like clapping while I was on mute. So yeah,
thank you.
I was like clapping. Yeah,
1,000 is the next milestone. Yeah, thank you.
Amen. But yeah, I referenced like an episode of mine where I talk about serial killers and like those kinds of people in heaven. I linked it in the chat, but I don't think is the link clickable? Is the link clickable? Probably not, but that's okay. Yeah, so I linked it in the chat. But then so if y'all want to go see it, it's I think if you scroll up a little bit.
I think it's one of the first ones.
Yeah, it's the one right there with all the mugshots of the 70s and 80s. Oh, nope, not those yet, but they're not mugshots yet.
This one. Can't even people go to heaven. That's what I was looking at earlier. Okay.
Yes. Yeah, so that one is the one that I was linking / talking about. It's pretty cool. I dive a lot deeper into it. So, yeah.
Well, hold on. Let me do you one higher here and also copy and paste it into the live chat just in case, because I'm not even sure if there is any trouble with them clicking the link, but there it is. again, just in case.
Cool.
And obviously, I'll definitely look at that with the team on a separate stream. But yeah, that is the channel of Hime. And of course, if you're not subscribed to her already, do so ASAP. But that being said, blessings and love to every single one of you guys. To my special guests, thank you for being here. I appreciate it. To the ones watching this live, I appreciate you spending time with every single one of us. And for those of you who watch this afterwards, thanks for taking the time to watch this 3-hour and 36-minute stream. I appreciate it. I don't know when you're going to find the time, but hey, I appreciate it in advance. And apparently, Hime is not modded, and I will take care of that right now. Actually, you know what? Let's take care of that right now, because before we go, that way I can actually be at peace with myself and not have nightmares of not modding Hime on my channel. Let's do it right now. Which I'm surprised, because I could have sworn you were, but I guess that's just on the JDQ channel. So.
Oh yeah, Papa. It's all good.
Just waiting for this thing to load. It's taking forever. But we'll do an actual live feed of this moment. Dun, 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 dun. All right, so should be an option coming up in a second now. Y'all see how it's like taking forever to like load in general, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see if Red must be extremely tired, because I've only ever heard Red like yawn like once.
No, I've been getting up a lot earlier recently. You know, my bedtime's like all out of whack ever since college started. And then I don't know, I might be going back, I might not. I might be going back late, maybe starting out the winter semester, but I don't know. It's all up in the air. I'm just trying to fucking. I'm not much of a. That's one thing about me. I'm not much of a future guy. I'm more of a now guy, and that could either be a very big detriment or something really, really nice. So I'm more of a now guy. So, hey, just taking it day by day. So.
All right. Well, either way, I hope you get your rest. To the both of you actually, because I know, you understand. I understand you have like is it 1 or 2 jobs or something like that?
Yeah, 2 jobs.
2 jobs. So yeah, I hope you get your rest as well. So.
Thank you.
But
Likewise.
you guys, the both of you and everyone in live chat, y'all stay safe and blessed out there. We are approaching the end times, so the closer you are to God, the better. But hey, I don't know anything, right? Who am I? Just a friend and a brother that cares for every single one of you. So that being said, I'll let every single one of you go. And this was JDQ with Vision iView TV.